You are now. Page 1 of 2.
Alright guys, 1 second, let me get everything set up for broadcasting.
Icon controls camera flip hollow. Button.
Camera flip here. Right. And... okay, 1 second. Let me do some more finagling here and we'll get started. Hello everyone that's joining.
Page 2 of 2.
Okay. Alright, so guys, I'm trying to do this from sort of a different angle than I was during the past broadcast. I'm talking a literal angle in terms of camera angle, so let me know if this is not a great angle, if there are lighting issues or whatever. That would be great. And I should have worn a darker shirt because it would make it easier for me to see when comments come in. Alright guys, let's start out by just saying that my name is Misty. I am in fact visually impaired myself, and I am here to take any questions you might have about blindness or visual impairment. No, there are no limits. Everything goes. As long as it's on blindness or vision impairment, feel free to ask it. Ask your questions. Now, I will say again, because I am visually impaired, I may not always see your questions come through in the comments down there. So if I miss them, just put it out there again, and I should hopefully see it a second time. As I said before, my visual field is very limited, and so if I'm looking at the center of the screen, I'm not always able to see what's coming in at the lower left, where the comments are. So just kind of bear with me if you would. And I did, in fact, miss a number of questions last time because I had some odd settings going on with Periscope, which I'm not going to get into here because it gets a bit technical. But I'm going to first start out by answering those. And once I get done with those, I will take current questions. So when I'm answering the past questions, please don't submit any more because I won't be looking down at that part of the screen. And I'll be answering the previous questions, and then I'll get to yours. Okay.
Hi, it's Christina here.
Ciao, Christina. Right, so I'm going to, and again, if I miss anyone, don't take it personally, it's just that I haven't seen you guys. Try submitting them again. And if I don't get to your questions, if I do happen to miss your questions today, I will get to them the next time. I'll replay this and I'll write down your questions for next time. So... yeah, again, just bear with me. I should have worn a darker colored shirt because for me, contrast is huge. I would have been able to see comments come in a little easier if I would have done that. But anyway, with all that out of the way, I'm going to start by answering, as I said, questions from last week. And so I'm going to show you, as I answer those questions, how I read my laptop computer screen. I do have some vision, so you'll see a lot larger print than you might otherwise see, but this will be about the size of print that I'm used to reading. So let me go and switch back to the other camera. For a minute, you're going to see a black screen, but in a minute, you'll actually see something else come up on it. So just give me a second. Now, I'm not going to be able to see through the camera screen the questions that easily. So I'll be looking over it as I'm showing you the questions. Let's see here. Maybe what happened here? Oh, when I plugged in my iPhone, the thing didn't come up. All right. So let me get things set up back to where I need to have them. Okay. All right. So. Let's see, let me get this on the proper thing here. Okay, so this is about the size of print I read, and here's the first question that came in last week. Now, I didn't get it's kind of being out of focus, looks like to me anyway. I didn't get the names of everyone that these questions are attributed to because when my speech synthesizer on my phone reads them, it doesn't always pronounce them correctly, and I don't want to screw up someone's pronunciation of their name, so I didn't write every single one of them down. This focus is being very peculiar today. Just hold on a second. Again, I'm kind of new at this, so bear with me again. Please don't ask questions when I'm doing the other ones. So the first one, as you can see, you may hear that in the background. I also have speech that reads this aloud. So, do blind people dream? Okay, that's a complex question. Let me actually give you a bit of a paragraph in answering this question, all right? Let me go and switch back to my camera.
Page 1 of 2. 43% battery power. Icon controls camera flip hollow.
Alrighty, hi guys. Okay, so, do blind people dream? Now, okay, blind people who have never seen in their lives. I think this is what this questioner is asking about primarily. If a blind person has never seen in their lives, some blind people, even in that situation, do claim that they can dream, that they can see in their dreams. Now, of course, okay, let me start out with this, okay? All blind people dream. I mean, we have essentially the same mental structure, other than not being able to see as anyone else, right? Ceteris paribus, all other things being equal. There are some blind people, just like there are some sighted people who have, other disabilities, maybe some hearing issues, even some psychological things. But again, that's not, everything else being equal, blind people have the same mental structures as everyone else. So they do dream, even sighted people, a lot of times when you dream, you're not just seeing in your dreams, you're hearing in your dreams, you're smelling in your dreams, you are tasting in your dreams, right? So do blind people. Now, people who again are born blind, some blind people in that situation claim that they can see in their dreams, and I think maybe that's what, again, the questioner was trying to get at. But the question becomes, okay, so if they've never seen in their lives, how do they see in their dreams, right? So logically, it's believed by, as I understand it anyways, an amateur, it's believed by psychologists that a lot of times a blind person who's never seen in their lives, or who's been blinded at a young age and doesn't remember seeing, that they have a kind of a different concept of sight than we do. So they may not perceive sight in exactly the same way we do, right? Because they don't have any real concept of it. So they may have some strange experience in their dreams that they are interpreting as sight, but it may not be quite what we understand as people with sight, people with some vision and people with full vision. Not quite what we understand as sight in actuality, right? If that makes sense. Again, if there are any follow-up questions on that for me this week, go ahead and ask them. Put them on here now or later or whenever, and I will either get to them now or in the next Periscope.
J. Thompson 6,835 invited followers.
Oh, I got an invite. Nice. Thanks, folks. Again, I'm not always seeing every comment that comes in, obviously. You can probably hear what I'm doing. My speech software on my phone, if I put my finger where a comment comes in, it will read it. But I have to know the comment comes in first, right? And that I have to see visually. So, yeah, when I put my finger down there, it'll read what's just come in. Anyway, thanks for the invites. Again, like this, share it. Let's get it up there. Let's get more people involved. Let's educate the public about blindness, folks. Let's go and do it, especially blind folks who are here. Let's get that out there. Right. Now, as far as dreaming, for a person who's had some vision and who remembers seeing, it's certainly plausible that even when they're blind, they have sight in their dreams. Now, a lot of times with any major life change, whether it be blindness or anything else, eventually that gets, as some people probably have experienced, that gets incorporated into your dream life. And so eventually those people may even lose sight in their dreams at some point. Now, maybe some people retain it. I don't know. Again, I'm not a psychologist. But again, very complex question. It's not something that can be answered, as with many questions about blindness, it's not something that can be answered in a sentence, okay? So again, if that makes sense, that's great. If you have any other questions on it, feel free to throw them out here. I will either get to them now or in the next session. So go ahead and do that. I will replay it later, and I'll see if I've missed any questions. Right. What was I going to say? That's terrible. I just had a senior moment, and I'm very young. Right. Hold on. Make sure I haven't got any more comments down here.
Blind tech joined.
Hi, blind tech. Let me go to another question. Then, if that's kind of been fleshed out, I'm going to go ahead and switch over to the other camera again. Forgive the awkwardness as I do so.
Page 1 of 2. Icon controls can airplay.
Okay, I'm going to move this over to here. And as I said earlier, I do have some vision, so I'm able to do a decent job with Periscope, I'm hoping, anyway. So I'm going to the next question.
How do you read this?
How do you read this? Okay. Let me go ahead and flip back over to the camera.
Icon controls can airplay.
Hi, guys.
Icon controls can airplay. Button.
Get back to where I was. All right. So yeah, how do I read this? This person was probably referring to the comments, and I sort of explained that earlier, so I don't think I have to go into any more major detail about it. Periscope, okay, let's just say this, okay. I am using a standard iPhone, okay? iPhone 5. I know, I'm old. Haven't upgraded yet. I use my phones until they die, and anything pretty much until it dies, technology-wise. So, yeah, iPhone 5. And in every iPhone, I think since the 5, I believe, excuse me, under the accessibility settings, you go to settings, general, and accessibility, and there's a little thing that says vision, and I think it says something like turn voiceover on. And that what I'm using to use my phone is called VoiceOver. Now, what VoiceOver is a speech program that when I put my finger over something on the iPhone touchscreen, it will read what my finger is placed over. And so again, for instance, if a comment comes in here and I put my finger over it, as I was doing earlier, it will read that comment that's under my finger. Okay. And again, this comes with every iPhone. It's built in. So we don't have to buy any special software to run over the operating system or anything like that. It's just there, which is great. I mean, Apple has done tremendously with accessibility. I praise them to the skies, as it were, right? They've done great. But granted, blind people had to kind of complain a little bit about accessibility before it happened, but Apple since then has been really an innovator in terms of making touchscreens accessible to blind people, which is awesome. So, which means basically any blind person can use an iPhone straight out of the box. We can even activate it independently now, straight out of the box, just using Siri. As long as you know to press in your home button until Siri comes up, and you can just say turn voiceover on, and there you have it. So, which is awesome.
Anti-blind check. Interesting how the microphones sound different when switching camera.
Yeah, real quick, it's a bit tangential, but yeah, the microphone does sound odd. It's not as strong whenever you're switched to the other camera. Fellow blind person making that comment, by the way, folks. The audio is different, which is kind of annoying. I wish the audio would be the same for whatever microphone or whatever side of the camera you're on. I don't know. There's got to be a reason behind it, but yeah. Anyway, a bit tangential, but I thought I'd respond to that comment. And again, the voiceover that I mentioned doesn't just work for Periscope. It works for anything that is on the iPhone screen. And so I can see phone calls that way. I can read text messages that way. I can use certain apps that way, right? So that's how I can read this, as it were. That's how I can read the comments on here, and that's how I can read other things on the iPhone. Now, VoiceOver doesn't automatically read the comments that I get, as I said, so I do have to put my finger down there if there's a comment. And I do have enough vision, if there's good contrast and lighting, to see when a comment comes in. I can see a little square pop up there, but I can't really read visually what it is, so I have to use VoiceOver to read it. All right, let me see what the next question is. I'm going to flip over again. Maybe. There we go. Let's see here. Where was I? I think I was, do blind people dream? There's the second question. And,
Have you always been visually impaired?
Okay, yeah. Oh, wait a minute. That's this question down here, right? Yeah. So have you always been visually impaired?
Have you always been visually impaired? A few.
Okay, I got a few of those. I just put a few in parentheses so I knew that I had gotten them. Let me flip it back over so y'all can see me.
Icon controls camera flip hollow button.
All right. Have I always been visually impaired? Again, very personal question. I'm open to those, though, as well. Every blind person's situation is slightly different, and how they adapt to things because of that can be a little different, so I'm open to more specific questions like that as well. I have always had a vision impairment, yes. I was born with a condition called Leber's congenital amaurosis, a really technical term, throwing it out there. But basically it's where I have a full complement of retinal cells, but they're not completely formed properly. And so not as much light gets into my eyes. And what often accompanies Leber's also is a thing called optic atrophy, which I have too, which is where my optic nerve is thinner and smaller than it should be. And so not a lot of the visual information gets from my eye to my brain. So that creates a lot of brain-eye issues in terms of seeing things, but also interpreting what they are. Right, and by the way, I get more into my vision specifics about it on my YouTube channel, which is under the same username as I have here. If you go to my YouTube channel and you go to a little playlist that's called Through My Eyes, that is a sort of a vodcast, video podcast that I do. I don't do them really regularly, but I have done several throughout the last several years. It's a little more formal than this one, and I do a lot more demonstration on that than I do talking, all right, like I do on here. So I do get into more of that under the video, So What Exactly Can You See? I think that's what it's called. So if you want to get more into that, I'm sure some people are not interested in all the technicalities, ins and outs of my vision here. I try to answer the questions very briefly, at least as briefly as I can, while still being somewhat comprehensive, right, in my responses. But if you want to get more into that, check out Through My Eyes and the episode on what exactly can you see. I will say though that I have had some. My vision has deteriorated a little bit over time. It's not been a drastic thing, so it's been something that I've been able to get used to. But it has deteriorated, and that's just the nature of this particular condition that I have. It, deteriorates to varying degrees over time, and I've adapted to it. I've had to use a larger print in greater contrast. I may have to use Braille at some point, but I think it's going to be far, far into the future because. Again, so far it's been a very gradual process. So again, it's not something that's really shocking or whatever. All right, let me go on to the next question. Okay, let me get back to my focus on the last question. Let's see here. Okay, so I'm gonna go to the next one.
What kind of phone do you use?
Oh, I answered that. I'm just going to not even flip over for this one. I do use an iPhone 6, standard iPhone 6 with accessibility voiceover turned on, so I can hear what is on the screen read to me aloud. I can hear the text on the screen. Okay.
What is my profession? Lucy put it out there a number of times.
Okay, it's a little tangential, but what is my profession? And I'm going to go and take this on because I hate to say it, but a lot of sighted people do think that a lot of blind people are not engaged in the public sphere. And to some extent they're correct because we do have a difficult time finding jobs because of a lot of covert discrimination that's out there. And I am actually on the job market myself at this point. And I have found the same thing, that it's difficult to find a job as a blind person, certainly in the mainstream. Not at some shelter workshop like Goodwill or Bosma Industries for the Blind or something like that, or getting into a blindness-related profession, helping other blind people out, right? I have training in classics, Greek and Roman antiquity, my ancient Greece and Rome, right? And so my specialty is in the Latin language. I do have a high school and middle school teaching certification, teaching licensure for both Latin and English. Excuse me. And of course, Latin, of course, is a smaller area as well. And it there are fewer jobs at that level available than something like English, right? And so, there are things involved with that as well. But I am looking for a teaching job, preferably at the high school level, preferably in Latin. And as I touched on this last week on my second Periscope session, I got more into blindness and employment or the lack thereof, and some of the reasons that 75% of blind people are unemployed. And I kind of talked about blind people who are employed and where they're employed and all that. So if you're interested in learning more about that, check out my previous Periscope session from last week. Again, get on my YouTube channel. You can see them archived there. And these Periscope sessions are archived under the playlist Questions About Blindness, in parentheses, the Periscope sessions. Okay? So if you want to check out previous weeks, check those out. I answer other questions. I kind of riff on various blindness-related subjects. And actually, let me check my participant level real quick. And you might be able to hear Periscope or VoiceOver read the participants. Let me see what that looks like.
4.
Okay, hold on. Have I just got 4?
Icon participant. Icon participant. 4.
Okay, so looks like I've just got 4 folks right now. Well, that's something. So I'm not going to complain. Again, invite your friends, heart it, share it, talk about it on Twitter, on Facebook, all that good stuff. So let's go ahead and get this out there. I'm assuming it's reading it correctly. All right, so let me go on to the next question really quickly.
Icon controls can arrow flip. Button. Icon controls can arrow flip. Button.
Okay.
Icon controls can arrow flip.
Okay, let's see here. Wait a minute, am I on the right?
Icon controls can arrow flip.
Why did not work?
Icon controls can arrow flip.
Why is this not working? Hold on.
Icon control.
That's very peculiar. Okay, I may have to improvise because it doesn't seem to be... My camera flip doesn't seem to be working all of a sudden. Okay, there we go.
Icon controls can arrow flip. Icon controls can arrow flip.
There we go. Alright. So.
Are you looking to teach college courses?
Okay, sort of related to the previous question, right? Am I looking to teach college courses? Okay.
Icon controls can arrow flip column.
I could, certainly. I mean, I'd be open to it, but I do not have a PhD, and for many college-level courses you need that. I just have an MA and an MAT. I was actually a bit tangential, but I was actually going to go for the PhD at one point, and I got all the way up to the dissertation phase, and I decided, you know what? I love academia, I love research, but I love teaching more. And I wouldn't want to necessarily get into that high of an academic level because I was more into the teaching, and I wanted to educate people who were outside of academia and who, were young and had zeal and could have a real interest in my subject area. And, so I ultimately, there are a lot of factors that went into it, but I ultimately decided to go the high school teaching route instead of the PhD professorial route, right? So let me go ahead and flip back over here. Let me go down here. Actually, I think that was the only one, the other one from last week. All right. All right. So now, I am going to open it up to questions for this week. So if anyone has questions, actually, I'm going to move this over a little closer, so maybe I don't have the white shirt. If this is too close, let me know. I just don't want the white shirt there being issues with me not being able to see comments because of my white shirt. Blending in with the comments. Hold on.
Hello from New York City.
Hi, New York City. I was there many years ago as a tourist and loved it. It'd be nice to live in, actually. I'm one of the few people that actually thinks it would be nice to live there.
Hello from New York City.
So, again, opening up to questions this week. By the way, if there's any issue with lighting or whatever that I'm not noticing, let me know. It actually looks a little washed out to me right now, but if that's an issue for anyone else, let me know, and I'll try to adjust the lighting. Again, opening up to questions this week. Any questions about anything I've talked about today, or anything else related to blindness I haven't touched on today? Anything from previous weeks, either here or on Through My Eyes, if you've seen any of those. Okay, by Blind Tech. All right. While I'm waiting for questions, as I do in past weeks, well, first of all, let me see what time it is. I'm going to let you stare at the ceiling for a second. I'm going to check the time. Okay, it's almost 6 o'clock already. Wow. I try to let this go about 30 minutes, because,
How do you give hearts here on Periscope?
It's, attention spans and all that. I hate to say it, but it's true. I try to keep it short, for about a half an hour. Okay, so I just had someone ask, I can't recall the name right now, just lost it, but, how do you give hearts on here as a blind person? Yeah, okay, so try to find somewhere on the screen where it just says, where your voiceover just says video. If you're on a comment, you tap on one of those, you're going to get the profile for the person commenting. But if you just tap somewhere where it says video, usually close to the right side of the phone and centered, you just double tap there and it should give hearts. It's worked for me. I know even sighted people sometimes have that problem because you have to tap somewhere where there's no content that's already there, and even sighted people sometimes wind up clicking on a profile or something and getting that up. So, okay, I think that's the last comment I had so far. Okay, so any other questions? I hope I answered your question there. Let me know if I didn't, if I need to clarify something. Any other questions, blindness related, whatnot? It's the same comment. Hold on. Yeah, that's very. Oh, you could do hearts on replay? I didn't think that was possible. I thought you could just do them when you're live. Okay, I don't know. Again, I'm pretty new to this too, so. If anyone else can help out there, that'd be great as well. Feel free to comment and reply. Again, hate to repeat myself, but any other questions on blindness or vision impairment at all this week? I'll give you a few seconds. Okay, I see you joined again. Okay. Okay, while I'm waiting for questions, I will go ahead and do a little bit of talking. Now, as I'm waiting for questions, what I normally do is I will just, as I say, kind of riff on a topic related to blindness that I've come up with, right? And this week it is has to do with oh, I know what I can do. I can move my hair forward like this, and I can get some better contrast on the front end of it. Okay, awesome, yay! All right, it may look kind of odd, but it helps the contrast in the lower left there. All right, so hi, Blind Tech again. I think it looks like you just joined again. So yeah, this week I was thinking about talking about misconceptions about blind people, and what kind of spurred that on was I was watching the last hour of the Today Show, right? And it was, Kathy Lee and Hoda. I enjoy them. Okay, don't judge. And they had a guy on with RP, condition retinitis pigmentosa, blindness condition. And, Kathy Lee and Hoda acted as if, oh, this is such a horrible thing, and you must think about it every day, or, you try not to think about it every day, and all blah, 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 that sort of thing, right? And I think a lot of sighted people think that blind people sit around and, bemoaning their poor, wretched condition all the time, right? And while newly blind people, many of them may have some depression for a while, and they may think, oh my goodness, my life is over, and they may lament over it for a while. Most blind people who have had blindness for a longer time, and certainly those who are born with a visual disability, most of us don't sit around every day and moping about it, right? Most of us live our lives to the fullest extent possible, and it's really a lot of us are just get so used to it. It's just not something we think about every day. We don't want other people to think about it every time they see us. We want others to treat us as if we were one of them, no differently than them. And we want to participate in society. We don't just sit around again all day and mope about it, okay? And we don't necessarily want pity from everyone else because we're a poor blind person, right? We want to be accepted and treated equally. So, not all blind people, sit around and mope about their condition all day. It's not something, you only suffer if you suffer in your mind, right? And, that's one thing I don't like about generally disability coverage is that the media, says that we suffer from a disability, or, person in a wheelchair is confined to a wheelchair. A person who's in bed has to be in bed all the time is homebound, bed-bound. You're only bound if you think you're bound. You're only confined if you think you're confined. It's much more a state of mind than it is a physical situation, okay? And so, a lot of blind people kind of take a little bit of umbrage to those kinds of statements, and people with other disabilities as well. All right, so first misconception tackled. Any questions on that or any other blindness-related situation? I'm going to give it a few seconds. Okay. I will continue on with some other misconceptions on blindness. A second common one is that all blind people are totally blind. No. Responses to blindness are as individual as people. Exactly. And that kind of leads into my next question. Or my next sort of comment, I suppose. Spiel. I don't know what you call it. Lecture? Anyway. Yeah, not everyone who identifies as blind is totally blind. Blindness covers a wide range of visual impairment, right? Some people, yes, are totally blind. They cannot see anything at all. Other people who identify as blind have some amount of light perception. They can see some light, maybe, or some color.
Sorry, my periscope is crashing a lot.
Oh, no, that's fine. So, and some people who identify as blind have some usable vision. They might read large print. Even if it has to be really magnified, they might read large print. They might be able to see some shapes, right? And certainly with my condition, a lot of people with my condition have virtually no sight. A lot of people with Leber's can't see anything at all or can see very little. For me, it's kind of unusual because I do have a decent amount of usable vision. And so, again, not everyone is, not everyone who identifies as blind is totally blind. I'm not sure why your periscope is crashing so much. never really, I hear other people have that problem, but I've never really had that with mine. I do when I try to share something when there's a lot of people in a broadcast, but I've never really had it just randomly crash as it seems to be for you. Are you trying to share this or something, you know, swiping, 3-finger swiping left to right? Because that might be what's doing it. Yeah. So where was I going? Sorry, I got off on a tangent, and then it's always hard for me to get back. I have to watch that in the classroom all the time when I was student teaching. I had to be very conscious of that. Okay, so, right, again, not everyone who's identifies as blind is totally. Now, hello, people who are joining. My speech synthesizer doesn't always read your name correctly, so I don't want to screw it up, so I'm just going to say hi, people who are joining. Right. Now, people who do have some vision sometimes self-identify not only as blind, but as visually impaired, or, as I say on my profile, partially sighted. Okay, looks like I got the same thing. Okay. That is mainly, though, if we want to be more specific about our vision, right? A lot of us are fine with the term blind. And that actually leads to a misconception 3, that for a lot of sighted people, for whatever reason, think that they aren't allowed to say the words see or sight or anything related to vision around blind people. Not true. Most of us, if not all of us, are okay with people saying, see you later. You know, say if you're talking to a blind person and you get up to leave, see you later, that's fine. Because if you think about it, when you say see you later, your primary focus is not necessarily on vision, literally seeing the person at a later time. Your focus is on meeting up with them later. So it's kind of an idiom in our language, right? See you later. And so it's not a bother to us if you say see you later to us. Or, you know, if you talk to us about, you know, oh, I saw a great movie last night. You know, even we say that. Oh, I saw a great movie on, I don't know, AMC last night. It doesn't bother us even to say it. Because, again, you're not, the primary focus is not on, well, put it this way, the focus is not seeing alone, right? You listen to a movie as well as watch it. It's an idiom. I watched a good movie. I saw a good movie. So that's not a big thing. You don't have to walk on eggshells around us, okay? You really don't. Even when it comes to talking about blindness, a lot of people walk on eggshells, you know, calling us things like differently abled, handy capable. No. To a lot of us, that just sounds patronizing, to be frank. You know, call us disabled. We're fine with that. We use the term disability among ourselves all the time. We use the term blind among ourselves all the time. Visually challenged, I mean, okay, that sort of works. But, you know, we're blind, okay? It's not a big thing, really. It isn't. So, yeah, you know, disabled, blind. Now, handicapped is a little bit of an archaic term, a little old, a little outdated. So, I don't know if I'd use that necessarily these days, but, you know, again, disabled is pretty well the standard term, and blind is pretty well the standard term for a person with a vision impairment, or, you know, visually impaired is also pretty standard, especially if the person has, you know, some remaining vision like myself. Again, any other questions about blindness or vision impairment? I'm going to open it up to questions once again. And again, if I missed your question this week, I will get to it next week. It'll be on here I'll be on here at the same time next week, Lord willing. 5:30 p.m. Eastern Time, I start this. Right, and on Thursdays. It's a weekly thing, okay? And as I said, I do archive these on YouTube after I get done here. And so, again, if you missed this here, you can see it 24 hours here on Periscope. It stays up, or you can watch it on YouTube. And you can also watch previous sessions of this on YouTube if you want to see what I've discussed in the past. Last week I discussed blindness and employment in more detail, and then the first week that I did this, a couple weeks ago, it had to do with I was kind of really stream of consciousness, right? I dealt with a lot of subjects, okay? And of course it was very new then, so I didn't get a whole lot of questions the first week. And I was just getting used to Periscope as well, so I may have missed some of them. Again, if you ask any questions last week, the week before, or today, and I missed them, I will certainly get to them, as I did this week. I'll look at the replays and see if I missed anything. So again, any other questions relating to blindness today? I mean, again, nothing's off limits. You can throw something out there, just go ahead and ask anything, and I'll do my best to answer it. So I'm going to give you a couple seconds or so for things to come in. Okay, I'm not seeing anything. Again, if I miss you, I apologize. I'll get to you later in the next Periscope. Excuse me. And I will try to wear something where I can see the comments coming in more easily, something darker next week. Actually, you know what? I think I'm going to go and wrap it up this week. I've probably gone way over already, and people are probably losing interest by this time. I hope not, but that's probably the case. So I'm going to go and jump on off of here, and I hope people enjoyed this Periscope session. And again, share this, heart this, whether I'm live or later. If you see it later, share it on Twitter, talk about it on Twitter, Facebook, wherever you have your social platforms. Go ahead and share it that way. We need to get more people involved in this. Let me check my participants. Okay, so I've just got one here. Excellent, for that one person who stuck around. Thank you. Again, we need to get more folks in. And also, if there's any way I can improve on this, these Periscope sessions, let me know. I want to have people stick around. I want people to learn from this. So, yeah, just let me know if there's anything that you think I could improve on here. Now, it gets a little talky, I get that. But again, if you want something that's more demonstrative, more visual, go ahead and check out Through My Eyes on YouTube, as I mentioned earlier, and you'll get more demonstration, a little more movement. I intend this more to be a Q&A session than anything. So, but again, if you have any suggestions or whatnot, just let me know on here, on YouTube, or Twitter if you follow me there, whatever platform you follow me on. So, all right, I will jump on off of here. And again, thanks for watching. I'll go and get this on YouTube next chance I get. And join me again next week. Same bat time, same bat channel, as they say. 5:30 p.m. Eastern Time, Thursdays. And again, my continuing to do this is contingent on how many people I get each week watching this at any given time. So I'm going to keep checking on that, keep checking on the hearts, and we'll continue on. We'll go from there. So I will talk to you guys later. Thanks for watching, everyone. Bye-bye.
52% battery. Icon controls camera flip. Icon controls camera flip. 2.
Maybe.
Stop broadcast.
There we go.